welcome to another video. In today's video we're going to be doing a load of plant chores, just kind of filmed over the last week, things that needed doing, plants that needed sorting out. So yeah, let's get into it. The first thing I want to do is to pot this up because it's been waiting for a while, so I figured today is the day. I think it's ready. Yeah. Just going to give it a fairly small pot. But it seems to be doing well because I've got new growth coming out and the roots are pretty good. So I figured I would get it settled in some potting mix and yeah, hopefully it will continue to grow. A little bit too much there. I'm finding actually that even though at the moment it's obviously a bit colder, a lot of my plants do seem to still be growing. So that's quite nice. I guess we're not in the coldest months yet, but even so, it is still quite cold here. I'll probably put this one under my grow light when I've potted it up. Just give it a bit of extra light. Popping this one on the freezer seemed to work to help it to grow its roots a little quicker. But I'm really glad this one managed to survive because I was quite sad that this plant ended up getting root rot. And there we go. I'm going to pop this one in here. I'll give it a water through as well and off camera. But will it fit in there? Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. I'm going to repot this Maranta because the potting mix it's in is really, really dense and horrible. So yeah, I'm just going to repot it. And it is still growing at the moment, which is nice. Yeah, it's got a new leaf coming out there. Just going to do a pest check before I carry on. Seems okay. Okay, let's get this out of here. You can see this one's kind of got quite a dense soil in there. So I just want to switch it up to something a bit more suitable. I am just going to keep it in the same pot because it doesn't need a new pot. But just get rid of this. The roots look healthy. So that's good. It's maybe got a few less roots than I thought it would have, but they look healthy. I need to try and get as much of this off as I can. This one has quite fine roots, so it's a little bit tricky. I'm trying not to damage them. Okay, there we go. And as I say, I think I'm just going to put this back up into the same pot. That seems fine. Oops. Go back in there as well. That's another job done. I'm just going to give this Maranta a bit of a prune. I'm still not quite sure what's wrong with it. It did have spider mites, but I think they're gone now. Some of the mottling is definitely down to the spider mites, but the fact that it continues to kind of get yellow leaves and go downhill, I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Maybe the spider mites are still here and I'm just not seeing them. But anyway, I figure what I'll do today is just take off the kind of yellow, most damaged leaves and then hope for the best. Yeah, I've sprayed this one down a lot and it just doesn't seem happy still. Maybe it's just recovering still from the spider mites, I don't know. Some of the leaves are kind of normal yellow looking and others have mottling on them, which would suggest spider mite damage. I don't think the thrips are back. This plant also had thrips as well, but that was in summer, and as far as I'm aware, those are long gone too. So I'm not quite sure. But yeah, let's just give it a little trim here. I guess the trouble with a plant like this is there are a lot of places where pests can hide. So it's probably quite difficult to kind of get rid of every single one. So it could well be that. I mean, I'm looking at each leaf that I'm taking off and I can't see anything. So I don't know. But I think the best thing is probably just to take off the most damaged leaves and then just kind of let it recover, let it grow back. Oops, oh no, that just fell off. What's going on there? That was not intentional. Oh well. I guess I will propagate that. Because why not? Put that to one side. See what else we've got. I shall try here not to be snapping off healthy bits. I'm going to take that one off as well. Let's see. I'm not going to take them off if there's just a little bit of damage, like this one here, for example. It's just got some mottling, I think probably from the spider mites, but it's mostly okay, so I'll leave that there. Take off some of these dead bits where the flowers were as well. Just double check there aren't any other pests that I've missed. Sometimes they can really go unnoticed. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess this plant has really been through the walls this year with the pests. But let's see what happens. Hopefully it will recover now. I think that'll do. It's looking a little bit bare, a little bit scrawny. It could be also a little bit sad at the moment because it's colder and there's less light, so you know, it could be growing a little bit more straggly because of that. But yeah, I'll put it in a spot where it can hopefully recover. But yeah, I'm always wondering if kind of like, you can see with this one, there are so many places that the pests could hide and that you could never actually get them all. So it's possible that there are still pests in there. Hang on, is that a spider mite I see there? What is that? No, it's not a spider mite. Okay, anyway, I'm going to stop obsessing over spider mites and call that job done now. Another plant that's looking a little bit sad is my Alocasia dragon scale, and I think in this case, even though this one has had spider mites, I think it's kind of partly spider mites, but also probably partly to do with the fact that it's getting darker here. There's not a huge amount of light to go around, and even though I've tried to put it nearer to the window, it's still getting some yellowing leaves, so I figure it's best to just chop them off now, and I expect this one will probably recover come spring and grow quite nicely. It does still have actually some new leaves growing at this time, but yeah, it's also losing a whole bunch of them, so I guess it's just doing the alocasia thing of I'm not getting enough light, so. But that's okay, you kind of half expect it with alocasias. I do my best to try and get them the light they need. I don't actually have grow lights at the moment, and I think maybe that would probably help a lot if I could give them some grow lights, so that might be something to think about at some point. But for now, I'm just working with what I've got, so yeah, it's hard to know. I'm just trying to decide which ones to cut off. I don't want to cut the ones off that have only a little bit. I might just snip off the little bits on some of the ones that have just a little bit if it's not completely yellow, like this one here. It's just a little bit on the end, really. Or is it? That one's... yeah, I think I'll leave that one. And that one's just a little bit, so I'll probably just snip that off there. Try and sort of curve around a bit, make it look like a normal shape. So it's looking a little bit more tidy. Not sure what to do about this one. This one has like a big dollop of yellow. It looks a bit fungally, that one. I think I'm just going to, yeah, just cut off the end of that one. Into a kind of dragon scale shape. I expect this one will go though at some point. Usually once they start to go like that, it means they will be completely gone. Okay, well that one's looking a little bit more tidy, so yeah. If not, then I know it will come back next year. The weird thing is it does seem to be putting out new leaves, and yeah, I'm not really sure why, because it clearly isn't getting enough light here. But yeah, of all the alocasias that I have, I'd say this was probably the fastest growing one once we're in the growing season. So I think it will definitely start to grow more and come into its own as spring comes, but I might just have to accept that it's going sort of semi-dormant. Most of my alocasias they all are kind of losing their leaves. Unfortunately, I'm not doing too well with the light this year. We currently have a huge for sale sign over one of my windows, and it's the window that my plants get the most light from, so that's blocking out quite a bit of the light at the moment. Hopefully it will come down at some point, but yeah, and I didn't really get grow lights sorted soon enough this year, so I'm just kind of having to accept a little bit of winter blues for some of my plants. It would appear that something is going on with my Dieffenbachia. You can see that it has quite a lot of yellowing leaves, and whereas I would be expecting a certain degree of the lower leaves to be going yellow, there are also some leaves kind of at the top too going yellow, so I'm thinking something must be wrong with this plant. And I have actually done a pest exam with my trusty magnifying glass, and I don't actually see anything. However, I mean, there still could be spider mites somewhere, but I'm wondering whether this might be a repotting issue, because I haven't actually repotted this since I bought it. So I think the best thing to do is just have a look in there. I really should have checked it for repotting in spring, but this is a good example of when you should just go ahead and repot, even if it's in the colder months, because something is obviously wrong here. I have recently watered this, so hopefully it's not going to be too messy. Water going everywhere. Let's see what we've got. It is it is getting on to be root bound there, but I would have thought it would be worse than that for it to be yellowing, but there you go, that's what it is. So the substrate this is in is actually not too bad. There's quite a lot of perlite in here, and I'm thinking I might just leave it in there for that reason. Normally I would detangle the roots and take off the old substrate, but in this case it doesn't look too bad. The roots look fine, there isn't any rotting. And yeah, it's dripping a bit of water because, as I say, it's just been watered. So yeah, I mean, it is root bound, but I guess what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop it in a new pot and then chop off these yellowing leaves and then just see what happens, see if it recovers. The other thing it could be is it could be the fact that it recently flowered, and I did read online that if a Dieffenbachia flowers that it could go into decline afterwards, and I kind of thought that I'd avoided that happening because it kind of recovered fine after the flower, but you know, and I think it's been, I'm not sure exactly how long it's been, but it's been months since that flower. So I wouldn't really be expecting it to decline, but it could be that, I guess. I mean, I see new growth coming out, you see, so I don't know. I think I'm going to just pop it into this slightly bigger pot and then, yeah, go from there. As I say, I am going to leave it in this substrate because it's a pretty good substrate. It's got some good drainage materials in there, and that's quite unusual actually. Usually I find that they don't have any drainage materials in there. So yeah, I'm not sure what's happened there. Someone's broke the mould there. Pop a little bit in the bottom there. I'm not sure what I'll do if this doesn't work. I'll see if this works and then go from there. I've got my waterproof gloves on, by the way, because Dieffenbachia sap is extremely toxic. Even though I don't plan on releasing the sap whilst I'm repotting, I'm just erring on the side of caution. Also, I am going to, in a minute, chop off those yellow leaves, so I will be releasing the sap. Right, and so that's that done. I will keep you posted on how this does. Hopefully it will survive. I guess I better chop those leaves off. I really hate pruning Dieffenbachias because of the toxicity of them, and obviously I'm careful not to get the sap on me, but even so, it still freaks me out. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, without touching them, chop them off and put them on here. And yeah, that's a tip. Don't look at it when you do this, because sometimes the sap will splash. So I always look away as well. Sure if I've got them all there. I think that's most of them. A few of them are looking kind of floppy, but I'll wait and see if they decline first. Maybe it will perk up now. Right, I'm going to go and dispose of this safely, and then I shall be back.